Welcome to FMA Talk Live. I'm your host, Dr. Tim, and this is my wonderful co-host.
Hey, PG Ties here. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, we had a little problem. Technology is wonderful when it works. It even better when I know how to use it. So, had a little problem, and we are fixing things on the fly. And it is what it is. I'm adjusting some things as we speak on YouTube. So hopefully this won't mess things up. Okay, I gotta open this up. But enable. Okay, hopefully I get that all done right. Okay, that's done.
Hey, PG Sam.
All right, so hopefully we're good to go. All right, I'll pull that over there. Yeah. So I zigged when I should have zagged, and my dyslexia kicked in earlier today, not realizing I set something up the wrong way, and well, here we are. But anyways, how's everyone doing today on this Columbus Day, if we can call it that anymore? I don't know if we can call it anymore.
I think they did change the name. I don't know.
It's my Monday day off.
There you go. Hey, Mr. Rich. Awesome.
Cool. Well, see, that was good. I was able to fix this so they can comment. So sometimes it will not let me do stuff.
Okay.
So they can't comment on YouTube if it's not done a certain way. So what did I do this weekend? What did you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? I had class yesterday. That was good. Two more people showed up that day. Other than that, I just messed up with the printers, of course.
Well, it was Columbus Day weekend, so I had some people come up from Philly and Jersey to do some private lessons with me.
Oh, perfect.
That was cool. I had to look at my calendar to figure that out. We had our school Halloween party. I dressed up as Deathstroke, the precursor to Deadpool.
Okay.
He's got white hair too. So, all right. Well, I want us to get into this. Oh, hello, Eric.
Hey, Eric. How you doing?
Eric is one of our new official organizational members.
Mm-hmm.
Joined his school up in Portland, Oregon. Hoo-ah. Noah. We haven't seen Noah in a while.
Nice. Oh, is Noah coming to the park then, or that'd be great because that's my event's this Saturday. Already cool. 5 days away, and I've still got to do some things.
Okay. Well, I hear at my tournament's the same weekend, and found some issues today. So whatever. All right. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the words of the day. These aren't 100%. Okay. Remember, there's over 100 Filipino dialects. So when we get this, Ty has been working on some stuff as well. So we'll see how accurate these are. I'm glad to be a member. I'm glad you said that. Cool. All right. So our Filipino words for the day. So hello is hello. That's what I've been Google Translate. But a lot of people will say "Kumusta ka," which is "How are you?"
Yeah. Or "Kumusta," or yep.
And then from there, "Handa" is ready. Usually at the beginning of a class. "Pugay" is to praise or respect. Do you have another variation of that with the dialects that you've been learning?
I'm used to seeing it Pugay.
And I may have.
Doesn't matter.
Is there any other variations of the word?
There would be, but those are only two that I've seen.
Okay. Actually, Pugay. Okay, so Pugay should have been A.
Okay.
Salute or saluting.
Yep.
So this is praise or respect. Kind of similar, not quite the same. And then hinto, stop.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so and the very important one. I'm going to add one. I'm going to add one because this will be really hard for people. Okay.
Okay.
Means okay.
I'm doing that right
How you
now.
doing? Okay, Lung. Just
guy
okay.
with an A. It goes into it translates into tribute or respect. Showing. So we will continue to do this. We're probably going to get more. Now, it's probably going to run more into Taglish from this point on, because because they do Taglish. Let's really break it down what it is.
Even in some ATMs.
All right. So Tim Dobson from Canada says hello.
Hey, Tim.
Spriteer says hello. I don't know where you're from.
Hello, sir.
Maganda. Oh, Maganda Hapan po.
It's good afternoon, sir.
And I say, can you please shout out Team Blintwalk Gold? No, I cannot do that. Of course I can do that.
Just did.
Team Blintwalk Gold. Woo-hoo, Supreme Filipino Martial Art. Founded by Anshan Bakan, which is part of my lineage. I actually studied with the designated successor who didn't pick up the torch. That was Ted Bua. I used to teach for Anshan. The only person we know of that taught for Anshan when he wasn't in the club. Of the first generation people we talk about. So, yep. There you go. No, thank you. And then Rico. Okay, cool. Nice. Mindanao. Okay. Man, Blintwalk spread to get down there.
Yeah.
Then, okay, good. Cool. So people have asked me to speak more Tagalog on my videos.
Okay.
And I don't have enough time to do it on the monthly stuff that I do, the daily stuff, because it's filmed a month in advance. So I really can't do anything. But on the show, I think it's cool that we can talk about that. And and let people in when we start talking about, hey, maganda umaga, maganda gabi. We're going to be talking. I mean, that'll be next week's stuff, But we'll talk about a couple different things. We want to definitely make it more than just what we're talking about, like having some cultural aspect of things in here and stuff. Now, and you know what? If that's not your cup of tea, we get it. But for those who do like that, I just want to share and take a couple minutes talking about it. I don't know what Flex Seal is. Do you know what Flex Seal is?
Flex Seal.
Okay. All right. That's I don't know. Okay. We know who it's from. So, all right. So here we go. Stephen Sweeney.
How you doing?
There we go. And then this is awesome. Give some insight about the culture. We try. So, I want to get into it. I don't want to take too much time. Next week we'll have a lot more about events because we'll have our tournament. You'll have your seminar in the park. It'll be a great opportunity to talk about events that are going on. And I think,
sure.
And here's what I want to say. It is important to do things like, you know what? People are hosting more events. It is great to see people who weren't doing stuff that are now. Good example of that, Brian Zawolinsky. For the longest time, he wasn't doing anything other than his own internal stuff. But he's grown this to be a bigger event. He's done he's done his, I think it's his tribute camp, his memorial camp. Now it's the World Camp. So he's coming up on his third event. Now he does smaller things throughout the year. But I mean, until as of recently, it's been kind of off the radar. I would say most of our modern Arnis brothers and sisters are really terrible at social media as far as getting the words out. I mean, and it's not a dig towards them because a lot of them are the Gen Xers like us. And a lot of them are hit and miss whether they picked up on technology or not. Hey, Tim. Happy Thanksgiving. That would be Canadian Thanksgiving.
Right.
Which is our Happy Columbus Day. Thank you. There we go. One right after the other. I've talked about in the past that I wish that, like, recently the Masters of Tappy group, which I guess the Professors of Tappy now, the IMAF, that they started promoting more. I would just wish, and they're doing some social media stuff, and I was hoping for more, that they put a little more production value in, and people got twisted and took it out of context. I mean, they didn't get mad. They're like, well, you don't want too much flash. You go, no, better lighting would go a long way. Better audio would go a long way. It doesn't take much. And mics and lights are really cheap these days. So it's good that the students are doing this and beginning to step their game up. But, it would be nice, like I said, for a while there, they were off the grid. You wouldn't hear much. You'd hear about events afterwards. Hey, Matt. So, Pray Master. Okay. So it's good that like Brian is doing an event that's got some traction, and the first year it was quite sizable. Second time he did it, which is every other year, it's got up to I guess the count was like 100. They were saying.
I think that's what they said. Yeah.
The only and now of course I'm gonna be nitpicky on this. The question is how many of those people were there for the entire weekend? Because you could purchase it one session at a time. So I think it's about the staying power versus the novelty. I like people going like our event. We don't do day passes, with the exception of my home students. They get to train with me the whole time because they're usually testing at camp. But even without them, we still got big numbers that come the whole weekend and stuff like that. So, and when we did the big camp, which was the reunion camp at the 10-year point, those numbers were people staying the whole weekend. Now, some of the kids couldn't be there the whole weekend because they were in school on Friday, but once school was over, they hopped into class. Okay, here we go. That's for you.
Girl Carl likes my t-shirt. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. Yes, it's only over 30 years old.
There you go. So it's good that we've got Brian doing that. It's just that we need more things than something every 2 years. So that's one of the things I want to really start pushing now is when we're doing all these events, let's start talking about them more and more, doing more events, getting the word out, because an event every 2 years, how good is that? If I only did an event every 2 years, I could probably easily get those same numbers. The thing here is we're doing how many camps are we doing this year?
We added it up last time. It's somewhere around 6. Is that right?
Well, I got 2 Canadian camps. Right. I've got 3 camps in Buffalo, and one of which is a specialty. We got Mass. We got Maryland. So we got 7 right there.
Yep.
And then we missed out on Orlando or the Florida camp this year due to my surgery. And this year we're going to be doing the Philippines camp, which is the second half of our discussion.
That's right.
So, but it's going to be a big thing we're going to be talking about is events all the time, talking about them, getting what's coming up, and getting them out there because we need more events because we need more people. Okay, let me see here. Will Harkey says, "Go Bills." That's sports ball to you, Ty.
Okay. Didn't see that. Yeah.
What's this one? Put down 2 hours taking up. Okay, Tim Dobson, Thanksgiving. Okay, Columbus Day. Let me see here. Yeah. We already did that one. Okay. Here we go. How's this? You got that one.
Show me if I ring this. I love Taekwondo, Judo, Karate. I do these before, but I lost due to my 3 times operation shoulder. So she stopped. Then experienced a new coach, had a new trainer, and enjoying staying at home in her old age.
Okay.
Now it's great training in the past. However you can do, it's great. And it's good that you've done it, right? You didn't have to stop.
So let's get to the first part of this, the accountability partner. Now, what is that? Someone that keeps you going. Now, what's a good example of an accountability partner?
Accountability partner. Well, I'll tell you what. When I was coming up with Raymond, one of my top students, would go to camps with me after I got him going. And since we worked out all the time, we would help each other make sure we saw what we saw and get things down. So that was partly accountability partner, but we're going to go deeper than that, I think.
Oh, yes, we are. I think we're missing the obvious one. That might not be obvious. our teachers.
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
So the one that everyone has a tendency of forgetting. So, like, we are our students' accountability partners. And here's the thing. We're not their teachers. We're their partners. And this is where people get it wrong, in my opinion. They do not do the work if we don't teach them. They can't do the work if we don't teach them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take credit for the work ethic my students have, or the work that my students have done, I should say, because it's their part. It is a teamwork. I've always looked at it this way. We are a team that works together. I do my half. They do theirs. I can't do it on my own, and they can't do it. Now, I've worked with, because of how I came up and stuff, when I go traveling and work with different instructors, I am a better student than some of my instructors are, teachers. And I can pull the material out because I know the questions to ask.
Right.
Now, not before, but now. So,
well, that's a good point. I mean, that's one of the reasons I always, along the same lines, I always think when I'm proud of my students, I'm not really proud of them. I've changed it to saying proud for them because they did the work. They did what it took to get them there. So proud for them is, I think, a great way to remind yourself that, hey, they made it happen, even if you primed it.
So I go to physiotherapy. They are my accountability partners because if I don't get the job done, I feel that I may have let them down. I'm in Maya, which is a martial arts business consulting association. I pay them for their services. But if I don't get the work done, I still feel that I let them down. I remember sometimes when I was doing my Kun Tao and my Sikaran with my instructor, Mark, before he retired, that I wasn't the best student because because my responsibilities as a teacher. But he'd come rolling in and I'd be in the parking lot practicing my form, waiting for him until they let me in the building, of course I had a lot of natural ability. I had already pre-trained, so I came in. But the thing here is, it's nice having someone telling me, saying, no, this is wrong.
Right.
And then, and right now this, from a training point of view, because of the surgery on my arm, this is the longest period of time I have not had an accountability partner when it comes to the mat time. And I do feel the difference. I notice the difference in that, not that I can't do it. It's just that without having that person there, I'm just not, it's a different priority.
Well, it occurred to me that not everybody always gets this idea. I think you have to be of a certain mindset. A lot of us like to have those friends that call us on our S, right? We need those, right? And that's a type of accountability partner. But from martial arts, there's so many more opportunities for that to be beneficial for both sides that I'm glad we're talking about it.
Yeah, I'm probably going to still that.
Cool.
That's because he's in Pennsylvania. He's going to still it.
He's
going to brew it up in his still and then drink it later. Perfect. Proud of you, Lion, for you. Ultimately, our job is accountability partners to ensure our students better than we are. And you know what? That's it right there. Okay, listen.
Your mission.
I'll tell you right now, I want to be the best. Period. The best. Best there ever was. Best. And if and the thing here is to be the best, it's not about keeping your students below you. It's having your students raise you up. And sooner or later, like right now, the two guys that came up this weekend, I talked about different things. And like, listen, what I lack on physical ability, because I'm almost 60. We're almost 60. My speed isn't what it used to be. I'm banged up. I've put on weight through a whole bunch of different things. Taglish is a combination of English and Tagalog. What is Taglish?
Tagalog is what the national language Filipino is based on. It's practically the same, but modernized.
So this generation want a sports team because they have a team as their accountability. Joining the black belt's painful, lonely path. Yep. So can you do it on your own? I don't think so. You can get to a point, because let's look at Remy. I think we as his students pushed him. It was a partnership with Remy. And he hung around people like Wally J, Ron Browning, and others that would push him as well. When you're teaching, so case in point, I go to Bobby Tablata's camp. We both go to his camp. And he has us teach. Well, you wouldn't have a schmuck teach. And, if I say so myself, it is one of the most enjoyed sessions at his camp, besides Bobby teaching himself. People are always coming up after me afterwards, asking me questions, because I will bring up the other side of Blintock. Bobby worked on the grouping methodology. I came up with the ungrouping methodology. So when I bring off, actually, what it really works out real well is I end up doing the Bunkai or the forms applications, basically, of their groupings, because the groups are Anshan's moves put in a sequence, not done to its fruition. And I recognize all of this because that's what all the moves that we did part. So if you work if you're going to do a drill, is the same thing as a kata. It is a kata is a drill. And you go back and you tear apart the drill. Now, what should happen is you do all the moves and create the drill. But a lot of times I see the groupings are taught as a grouping, not as individual techniques. And then you deconstruct later, or you need to deconstruct later. So I think one of the things, though, is what keeps me honest is that when I'm there, Bobby's there, and I don't want to let him down. He's entrusting me with his people. And I mean, he and I have taught a bunch of times together, and we've gone on the road together, which is another thing. When you're going on the road all the time, so we did the Legends of FMA tour. Bobby Tablata, Michael Haron, Max Palin, and myself. You know what? That's a group that we all had to be sharp, because none of us wanted to be the weak link or the low man on that totem pole. I was fortunate. I was driving, so I didn't have to put up with any bullshit. Oh, you don't like this? Do you know where you are right now? No, I don't. Well, you got to figure out how to get to the next destination. See you later. Bye. Nobody walked, but here we go. Boom. It is hard to train on your own. Definitely. You need motivation and someone to train with. Yep. There are drills you can't do alone. Exactly. Why are there so many Tagalog languages? Because there are over 7,000 islands in the Philippines. And the education system over there works when you have access to it, but they only pay for the first 4 years of school. Then the rest, the family has to pony up. Not to mention, you have to be able to afford school supplies, clothing, maybe transportation, all that other stuff that we take for granted over here. And we complain when our taxes go up, school taxes. But Grandmaster Bobby will tell you, he only got 4 years of school. He's not a dumb man. He just wasn't scholastically educated. He's a smart man, though. He did a lot with that very little.
Yeah, and I'd say that all the other dialects in the Philippine Islands are not a type of Tagalog. Just to be clear, they're their own languages in a right. Some of them are related, but Tagalog is a specific one on the island of where Manila's at.
Think about this: how much different slang is in the country?
Sure,
you might have a different slang 2 towns over, or even 1 town over. Well, let's talk. Hey, it's like the haymaker punch in Dallas. Dallas and Fort Worth are the Twin Cities. One calls it the cowboy punch, the other calls it the redneck punch. I'm not sure which is which. Okay, here we go. Very true, Datu. You can't be a good teacher without having a good student. I find you learn better when you have to teach. Yep. Professor talked about that all the time.
One of the best things he ever did to me was to have me start a couple clubs around A&M. Learned a lot.
Punch. Redneck punch. Redneck. America.
Right.
So we've established what an accountability partner can do. I'm going to talk about a personal experience, and we'll talk about it a little later. But I want to talk about what happens when you don't have that person. So here's what happens. What happens when Remy died? and everyone's left on their own. Or chose to be on their own. Now, personally, I'm disappointed with the level of execution. I think a lot of our classmates have regressed. I think if we could have all, when we did after the reunion camp, if we could have stayed hanging around each other, it would have been better for all of us. Hanging around doesn't mean we're working together as one organization. It could have been that we came together like once a year, once every other year for events for the benefit of the community, and being around is like, like going to a tournament. If you go to do the tournament league, your competitors are accountability partners.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah.
I used to benefit from that all the time in powerlifting competitions and as well as martial arts competitions, right? The person you're trying to beat might be cheering you on so that when you broke their record, at least in powerlifting, right, then you'd have to, they'd have to get stronger. They love that. Yeah, it's great.
Hey, I see a lot of tournaments where competitors are cheering each other on during the forums.
Absolutely. Yeah, everyone. You should want your. I mean, so here's the other side of it. So if you're competing against people and you wish them to do their worst and you beat them, what does that prove? But if you beat them and they do their best, you want them to do their best so that you know what it means.
You look at people like Michael Jordan that were that damn good, and then everyone around him leveled up.
Yep.
You talk stories about, I mean, the question is, was someone that good, or were they ahead of their time? And then how did they affect the community? Those are the three questions I'd ask. So was Bruce Lee really that good, or was his methodology just ahead of his time? But at the end of the day, Bruce wasn't old enough to be really good because he only died when he was 32 years old?
I'm not sure.
32, 35. I mean, he hadn't been around. I mean, you look at a lot of people who went way too soon, and he's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You hear stories about how good Edgar Salute was, the Herman Sawandes and all these other stuff. Like, yeah, okay. But just think if they're around another 10, 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, look at Remy. I mean, we thought he was getting better, and he was, but also we were getting better, and he can show how he didn't have to train down as much for us.
Right.
We did him such a huge favor by following him on the road, because he can actually get close to showing what he wanted of the art. But when you got just a bunch of noobs in the room, what are you doing? Here, swing a stick at me. I'll do block check counter. I'll do a disarm, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he did get better because it was uncontrolled strikes coming at him. He had to learn how to control that person and made it work for him, which is why I think he was so good, is that he crossed hands with more people than anyone else out there, probably. That being said, he didn't always have a person with him that could show him what he really wanted to do. Hello, PG Craig.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
So, so we'll talk on the physical side. I I already made my comment. What do you think about not having an accountability partner there? I'm not saying making comment about other people, but just in general.
I think with the right mindset, and that's part of doing your own work, right? If you have an accountability partner and you take it the right way, it can help you push yourself to new goals and stuff. So I think it's important. I think it's really hard to be so self-motivated and self-critical in the right ways, let alone you won't know what you don't know. So how are you going to work on the new thing that you don't quite get? How are you going to know if you got it? Nobody's adjusting you. Nobody's feeling you. You can't feel it. You need part of what we always talk about, right? You need someone to train with. That's an accountability partner. Just the fact that you're training with a person.
There you go. That's why I enjoy both good Datu and PG, which inspires me to improve. Thank you for that, both. Okay, cool. Awesome. So, case in point, I'll give you a little story that happened to me. Oh, I lived it. I left Colorado in 95. There's no one around to continue in training. It's frustrating. Yep. So, I was talking to one of my students, one of my long distance students, and they told me about an incident that I didn't even realize happened. Someone took a run at me. We discussed this.
Yes.
Someone said, all right, I got Hartman's number. And their comment was, "Yep, he's good." Well, why? I went after him. I tried to do this, and all I just ended up doing is switching hands or switching out or whatever, blah, 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 and countered. I'm like, well, that's disappointing. And he goes, and the guy was like, yeah, I mean, how dare he do that? I'm like, no, that's not the point. That's disappointing. What do you mean? I go, you're telling me that this person took their best shot at me, and I didn't even realize this because I don't even know what you're talking about. They came at me with everything they had, short of going full contact and punching me in the face, and I smoked them without even thinking twice about it. So then afterwards, we had a meeting amongst the board members saying, hey, you know what? There's no way I want this to happen to you guys. So when we're around each other, we got to try to mess each other's stuff up.
Yep.
That we got to take runs at each other and let each other know ahead of time, hey, game on. And just be prepared. I don't want to say sucker punches, but someone taking advantage of kindness. And because I want everyone in our group to have the same kind of response, that we just go with, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And just be like, oh, that's
my first Kung Fu instructor had a term for that. He would take us to dinner, and he said, there's no such thing as cheating in Kung Fu. So if you're eating dinner and a fist comes at you, you have to react. So there's no cheating in Kung Fu.
All right, Carl, I always love your form in any kind of martial arts. Always love your form in any kind. Yep. Yeah. Cool. So, I think, like I said, I'm disappointed with us as a community because I think as a whole, we were better while Remy was alive. And I'm talking about the first geners. I know that I've gotten better because I've continued my education. So Remy opened the door for me to work with Ted Buat to look at the roots of modern Arnis, to look at some of the influences of modern Arnis. Blintwalk was the last art Remy trained before forming modern Arnis. He told me there was Kun Tao and Sikaran in the art. Guess what? I found Kun Tao and Sikaran. I keep training. I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the 90s, although it's not the primary thing on my plate. It's a side dish, So, I'm always looking for those connecting dots. I got into Kombutan accidentally, but I liked it. And that's a derivative of modern Arnis. So I get to see modern Arnis from a different perspective. And that's actually how my Praces brand, Praces Arnis, comes up, which is, it's not I'm not the founder of Praces Arnis. I'm the architect of the curriculum, which just means I put it on a sheet of paper. It was already there. Praces Family Systems, So, but, with all of that, I've put myself in a student role time and time again. And it makes me different. Even it goes back into my social media, my school business stuff. I'm constantly taking seminars and classes and things I can. There's an online seminar for business or advertising, whatever I can, because I always want to learn something. It keeps me sharper versus being in the point where, and let's say there's nothing more to learn in my martial arts. Let's just say that. We know better, but let's just say it was there. Mm-hmm. By being a student in other things, I'm constantly looking for that extra thing, that extra piece. Looking back, can I do this better? Can I be more efficient and stuff of that nature? So from a martial training thing, do you think, can you think of anything else? I want to talk about publicly, politically, stuff like that real quick. But before I shift into second gear on this topic,
nothing's jumping into mind. I mean, it's just a concept that can be guiding you as you're both trying to help people and be helped.
Yeah,
keep it in mind.
Yep. So the other part of the accountability thing is sometimes you need someone to call bullshit on you, because sometimes we get out of line. And a lot of times, contrary to popular belief, before I make a lot of my public statements, I bounce things off the board. We have a discussion group. We have a message group on Messenger that I just say, hey, you guys see this? What do you think? 9 times out of 10, I will post the day after. Actually, I'll sleep on it. And then I'll decide whether I want to continue to say something. Then a lot of times I'll make comments to you guys or these guys, and I'll say this is what I'm going to write or this is what I'm going to say, and give people an opportunity to stop me. Do I need to be stopped on this one? No, it's fine. Or yada. And I remember there was a topic about someone complaining about one of the videos I did about the forums, and I went through back and forth with everybody. Do you read this? Are we all seeing it the same way? And da. And then I end up to the point, resignation accepted. And it had to do with an event we were talking about. So, and Sweetie's laughing. So, so there's a whole bunch of things. And usually that happens. Recently, because of all the social media stuff I was going to go out, that goes out there once in a while. I get quite a bit of negative critique from usually the nameless, the faceless, nameless trolls out there. And I don't care. They'll sit there, they'll watch a video, and obviously they watch the title and then they don't listen to the rest of the video. Or they turn the volume off so they can just read stuff. And then once again, they only read the title. And they make comments, and everything goes back to the usual stuff. Hey, if it's so good, why is it in the UFC? Of course, my new one is like, well, if your martial art is so good, how come we don't see it being used to defend a country where Filipino martial arts have been one of the most sought after martial arts for special forces? But hey, what do I know? Go ahead, do a single or double leg takedown while the person next to your opponent has firearms or a blade. see what's going to happen there. Oh, was that barbed wire we rolled into? So, and I like precision. I'm just, just the arguments I have with the knuckleheads. So recently someone took a shot at one of my videos and I wasn't having a good day. And the thing that frustrated with me is that I knew the person, not a friend of mine, and obviously must be an enemy of mine, at least on their side. Because I really never thought about the person in that way. I just, I know, didn't like some of the comments I made, and, it is what it is, and saw a video I did and then started trash talking me on the video. I'm like, okay, so I put out 180 videos and you're having a complaint on one video on kicking. So I know what the real problem is because I made some comments about their lineage and how it wasn't a legitimate branch of the art, or it was mislabeled. I felt bad for them because they didn't knowingly do this. They were misinformed. And it really stems from stuff of that, and so I ended up responding. I didn't sleep overnight, had one of those days, and I don't think I was too aggressive, but then I got a message from this guy right here. I said, well, maybe you shouldn't have went over. I'm like, had a bad day. Okay, I get that. But he called me on it, and it's like, all right, you're the head of the organization. Should you really do that? And of course we talked about it afterwards. I'm like, dude, what an idiot. It's not, if you know me, why don't you DM me? And we've seen something else recently where there's problems where a direct message could have fixed everything. And the person made a misstep unintentionally. And someone hopped all over his shit publicly, or did a screenshot, posted on his, made some comments about the situation. It could have just as easily been, hey, by the way, that statement's not accurate. You might want to amend that.
Well, you said something early on in this that, a couple of times you said it. I think one of those things that we all got to remember, and I got to do this too sometimes, is it's always better to post it the next day.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be happening right then, and that makes sure that you motivate. So I think that's a great method. The other thing that I said to someone, I think it was you, when I was talking about something along these lines, was that ideally, I think what happens when the personal becomes public, it creates a polarization, and then there's everything that everybody stands for falls behind that in public, and so it makes it really, really messy and can explode really, really fast. So my idea is that if you got something private to say, first say it in private and see what it is. Maybe even check on stuff. If somebody messed up, you can ask them first, and then you can get all over their ass, right? But I mean, keep the private, and the public can stay public, and then I think it works out pretty well.
I remember Kelly and I had a blow up, and Kelly wasn't familiar with. There was FMA Pulse pod, which does the videos, and then there's FMA Talk. There's 3 FMA Talks. The first one was FMA Talk, the discussion group, as a V bulletin board. It was a spinoff of Marshall Talk. Then Federico and Mark reached out to me about doing a podcast on iTunes. So it was an actual podcast, audio only. And they asked if they could borrow the FMA Talk name. I'm like, oh, sure. And actually, that's where one of our pages come from. It's from them. And then we started this show. But before the show had started, FMA, we did the interview on FMA Talk with Kelly. And then I had filmed an interview. I was in Chicago for a tournament, and those guys showed up, FMA Pulse, and they did an interview. And I was very particular back in the day to talk about when I was promoted. Remy said 2 things, and I focused on one. The 2 things he said at the Michigan State Summer Camp in 2000 was that it was the highest test in over 17 years. And the second thing he said, I was the highest ranked person in the States. Okay. So because of the whole master of tappy and all this other stuff, when it all went down afterwards, when Remy, all that stuff happened while Remy had a brain tumor, a large brain tumor, and was on drugs and all this other stuff. And so, yes, I do question the legitimacy of the comment and the stuff of that nature, which I've been very upfront about all this time. When we would talk about certain things, I would promote things that were accurate, that'd be less confrontational. I was the highest tested black belt. According to Brian, after black belt, first degree, or Lacan, or whichever, there were no more tests. But we knew better because we both tested on multiple degrees. So I tested for my 6, which in modern is 7, because it's black, basic black, then first degree. So we actually had 11 black belts. And it wasn't a junior rank. It wasn't a probationary rank. It was a level of black belt. We wore the same black belt as Remy wore, black belt with red border. Okay. Because if it was something else, we wouldn't be wearing it. And hello, Bruce from Manila.
Magandang umaga over there.
We will be over in February.
That's right.
What's this one here? Did you know that there is a Modern Arnis combatant training camp going on now? It's a combatant camp, yes. Right. Yes. And I was asked if, John Ernesto Jr. asked if I could come over. Just bad timing. Okay. Bruce Lee was a bit too damn arrogant. Well, and we don't know because we weren't alive back then. We didn't talk to him back then. So was he?
That came up recently, and actually, I would say, I'm not a big Bruce Lee fan, but I would say don't confuse the movies and the public persona with the man, because I hear all sorts of conflicting stories about those kinds of things. So, but like what Tim said, we don't know.
Hey, listen, Jackie Chan says such good things about Bruce Lee as a stuntman on his shows. Says nothing but nice things about him.
Yep.
And here's the problem. Was he arrogant or saying shit that people didn't like? Oh, wait a minute. Does that sound like anybody you know there, Ty?
I have no idea.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, but at the end of the day, we have to understand. Yes, there we go. Yes. At the end of the day, we have to understand it's good to have people around you
Mm-hmm.
that will question. It's not question your authority. It's holding you to a level of accountability to one level of another. And we constantly, like when we're together, okay, so at our training camp, like we did the instructor training camp, everyone came to it. So you had you and PG's Chad and Craig,
mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of working on the mat, a lot of working off the mat. Now maybe some of the stuff is like, all right, no, I got this. I'm like, hey, let's do some stuff off the side. Let's riff off the here and there. That's fine. You know, it wasn't a side seminar starting up. It was building off the stuff we were already doing. Mm-hmm. Keep you grounded. Yep. You know,
I mean, nobody's perfect, right? So if you depend on only yourself to check yourself before you wreck yourself, you're gonna miss something.
Listen, and like the thing here is, my position is simple. I'm trying to get better. I don't need anyone to tell me how good I am. I need people to tell me where my deficiencies are and how to get better at those, because I know I'm not the best at everything. And just like, you know, it's funny, we're talking about this technique wise. So we did this thing called the flow drill, which was basically it's like a gunting drill, for lack of a better name. We call it the Cruzada flow drill because we're doing the guntings, but we prefer the word Cruzada. Okay. Gotcha. So we're going through that. And I used to do it with a stick against a stick all the time. I went to a knife and I never want to go back to a stick, you know, because it makes more sense to me. And I use it for my open hand combatives anyways. Well, lo and behold, I tried to use a stick recently with it. I felt so awkward and so uncomfortable. But when I used to have a stick before, I never once questioned it. But I also did a lot more dynamic moves where I was bobbing and weaving in the process of doing that. And I think the way I do it now is more befitting my age and skill set, where the before was, once again, since I had better attributes, and, you know, I could do things that might not work for everybody. Okay, here we go. I'm just curious. How's FMA within law enforcement there? Is it really useful for them? How's the application? I'm gonna let you go first on this. I've got
Okay. Yeah, no, you know, only have been assisting with sheepdog combatives, and also a little bit in Texas with another group that help teach law enforcement. But from what I've seen, there are certain universals that translate well, right? Strike, you know, where you're going to strike, how you're going to manage weapon retention, how you're going to deal with impromptu situations that I think FMA covers really well. It's not unique. So that's where I see it, but I don't see anything, you know, that would look like classical stuff like Sinawali's or more modern put together things like Blentuak. I don't see that too much.
So my position is this: law enforcement as a whole is not given the support that it deserves by society and as well as the government. I think there needs to be more training. The quantity of training that they get is crazy light. It's they should be trained more and more, but no one wants to pay for it. You know, because ultimately, what would happen? You need to pay for it. I say, all right, well, what's the cost of paying training for this? Well, you got to figure out it's like probably going to be a lot of money, because first of all, you have to pay for the officer to take the training. You have to pay for the instructor to offer the training. Mm-hmm. You have to pay the officer that's covering their shift. And that person's probably getting at least, that person's going to get overtime for that. And it just it's a cascading effect of more and more costs. And we as a society don't want to pay for that stuff.
And underlying costs like the the idea of getting things standardized and accepted in the legal, situations, things like that. There's a lot of background work that has to be done to get something accepted. Hey, these techniques are fine for you to use, Mr. Law Officer.
Right. So there's so much stuff, and now, there are programs out there in certain states like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They'll, like Brock, if he can chime in, there's a program out there, and I don't know how it got through. There's something that they'll pay you for classes up until you get your blue belt, but you still got to do it on your own time.
Well, and that's the other thing. I know that a lot of times the police officers I've talked to about training and martial arts, a lot of them use the thought process that, hey, I one, don't have a whole lot of free time. Two, I don't need to hurt myself in training, because if I can't do what I need to do out in the really real world, I can't do stuff. So some of them aren't encouraged to do the work on their own, which is what you really need to do to get good at some of this stuff. But that's, I think, in terms of what Tim was talking about, the idea that, do we really support our officers to get these kinds of training and follow through? I don't think we do.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the West Seneca Police, my town, finally did hands-on training this past year. It's been the first time in maybe possibly 2 decades that they've done defensive tactics. Think about that. 20 years. And these guys don't go back. Now they do have to learn how to shoot on a regular basis. So that is a responsibility that they keep up on. But the fact of the matter here is they don't, they're not required to train.
Right. It's interesting they have to qualify with a handgun, but they don't have to qualify with their other skills.
And I get that, because a stray bullet is a lot more life-threatening than a technique gone wrong. There's so many innocent, and it's I feel bad no matter what. But,
well, it's also about the judgment, right? Because we had what was that, a few years ago? A technique that was trained into the officer, used well, or to be used well, didn't work out well in the long run because of all sorts of other situations. But I mean,
I'll be right back.
Anything where you're putting hands on and you're getting violent can go deadly, can go awry. And I would say that I think the officers would be better served if those skills had some expectations behind them, and the training to go with it and the support to do that training, as opposed to, hey, you're going to do really long shifts and you crash and you got to get back the next day. We know this in martial arts, right? If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So if we're not keeping them enabled with their training and their backing and all of those kinds of things, my idea is that that's leaving them hanging. So
yeah. Yep. All right. Okay. Here you go. I'll let you read a couple of these while I click through these.
Sure. What do we got? Steven, the reason why so many American martial artists wanted to learn from Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, Joe Louis, and many more. There's a reason. Yes, there's a reason, because a lot of things. And it wasn't just because one aspect of their success, probably. Carl, we could ask Danny and Santa how good and how Bruce's attitude was. Sure.
I don't know if I agree with that one.
Well, I mean, we could ask him.
Because here's the thing. Okay. I've had friends that are great on the inner circle, but are terrible with everyone else.
Sure.
Okay. Well, here's another one. Okay. I'm going to, let me ask you this. Okay. I've got probably, all right. In Modern Arnis, in the Modern Arnis community, I am the least liked by the first-gen students. So why is that? I'll give you one thing I'll say is, right off the bat, is that we're all vying for that position of who the inheritor should have been. Everyone wants that. I was the heir apparent, whether you whether you like it or not. I was the only one that was doing a full-time Modern Arnis school, let alone program. Everyone else was the art within your art. And it was even mentioned by Brian recently on one of his roundtables that most of us over here in the States, most of the people in the States did the art within your art. which once again, we talk about it. That wasn't Remy's system. That was a cross-training program and onboarding program that Remy had. So, I'm very outspoken about what the art was supposed to be. And most of the people never took their modern Arnis training wheels off because they always had their system to fall back on: karate, taekwondo, fill in the blank. I'm very open about my opinion. But would you say, Ty, if someone offers a counter opinion to me, that I'm receptive to agreeing to disagree on certain things?
I think so. I think the people should realize that it could be a discussion, right? So hey, I say something or I purport something, and you want to disagree with me, I'm happy to hear you, or you can let you convince me, but you should be able to hear my side as well. So I think it goes both ways. I think that expectation is the only thing that I think that you would add to that from my perspective.
My thing is, when we have a conversation, I will give you the opportunity to change my mind as long as you give me the same opportunity back. If you're just going to come and tell me why I'm wrong, I'm not interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know they're wrong. Well, we already know this, but if it makes them feel better, no. But I mean, the thing here is, like, we've been, and the biggest thing is because people are throwing these grandmaster titles like it's like a fire sale, And by all means, if you look at the book, there should have only been one. Based on Remy's actions and stuff, there should have only been one grandmaster, and that's my opinion. I would have been open to say one in the Philippines, one in Europe, and one in the States. I'd be open to having a dialogue about that. But I'd also be open to sit there and say, Tim, case in point, Dieter knows exactly how I feel on this.
Yep.
They're using, and here's the political side. I'll say right now, everyone's saying they're doing modern Arnis, but they're doing the Kombatan grading program, or they're doing the DKI grading program. DKI gives Grandmaster at 7th degree. Kombatan does Grandmaster at 8th degree. That's not the way Remy did it. Remy allegedly promoted people to 8th degree black belt. Well, they didn't have Grandmaster titles.
Right.
That was it. Okay. So, but I was at one of Dieter's camps. I've taught at Dieter's several times. And he had two of his guys getting their 8th degree in the Grandmaster. And Dieter goes to me, Tim, I know how you feel about this, but would you be willing to? I go, dude, I'm not promoting them. It's a witness signature. I'm okay with that. So I didn't agree with it. And I don't consider being a sellout because it was a DAV paper along with IMAFP, which I had no bearing on. They said, would you sign as a witness? By all means. You know what? I'm more than happy to do that because it's not one of my diplomas. And my diploma would not say Grandmaster on it. It's as simple as that. But here's something I disagree with. And it's a protocol thing. And I get it. You're taking from Kombatan. And there's ways I can justify it, make it real easy for myself. Like I said, the IMAF, they started giving out Grandmasters. Brian John, 7th degree black belt Grandmaster. I don't know is Earl Tullis a 7th degree black belt Grandmaster?
I believe so.
Okay, so there's potentially another one. But my position on GM, okay, have you produced masters? Have you produced black belts? Okay, have you produced masters? Have your black belts produced black belts? Mm-hmm. I mean, these are kind of okay, but if you don't want to do that, I'm okay with that. I won't agree to changing history. Whether it's good or bad, we have to keep that in place. I know a lot of times remember, a lot of history, the victors are the ones who write the history. So we find things. I mean, okay, Columbus was cool at one time. Now it's not so cool. Okay. So we're in a different position now, but here's a person that Ty hangs out with me, Chad, Craig. I got a whole bunch of people that think I'm a great guy most of the time. I mean, I don't have to pay him to do that. But not everyone else likes me. And it's because they take professional situation and they make it a personal situation. Would you say that that's kind of the thing there?
I think so. And I've ranted on this before where I really think that the only real loser in that is the students, is the people that want to learn the art, that don't care about that stuff.
I've gone places, I've taught seminars in all these guys' backyards, and lo and behold, their students show up to my seminars. Now, And here's the person that I don't have a problem with. I might have a problem with the accuracy of things they say, but you have Chad Bailey's been in Buffalo multiple times because the Kempo school is part of the association that he consults for. And the last time he was up, he brought Bruce. They are only 20 minutes, 30 minutes from here. The last time they were here, I happened to be in town. I had my shoulder surgery. I went over and visited during the seminar. I dropped flyers off for an event for the host. I cleared it ahead of time before I stopped out. We all talked for a couple minutes, and I got out of their hair because I didn't want to take away from their event. I got no problem someone teaching in the Metro Buffalo area. It's not a big deal. If people want, if people wanted to have Dieter into Buffalo, by all means. And if I'm in town, I would stop by and say hello. Which has been a lot lately because hopefully Wednesday I get permission to fly again. So I won't have from medical restrictions. The surgery that I don't want you to fly for a couple months in fear of blood clots. So, but I mean, I don't care about that stuff. It doesn't, but because a lot of people think I'm a cool guy and I'm a good guy. Hey, I'm on the Chamber of Commerce. I'm doing a lot of stuff for the community. Some of the people in the Modern East world don't see that. And they might say I'm a bad guy. So we're going back to this, like, what would Inosano say? Inosano's your friend. You might be blind to it, or it doesn't tell the whole story, or, there's, unless you were there and judging for yourself, because I don't trust anyone else's opinion on what I would like, because it's my own opinion. Okay, here we go. That's time to just. I didn't know him, Jesus. Okay.
I used to.
There we go. As a retired police officer, the FMA assisted me in expandable baton training when I. Yep. Yeah, and if you have time to put the training in, Carl. It depends on the situation, hand to hand. Yep. Okay. There we go. Boom. Officer's mentality. I have a gun. I've been told. Okay. There we go.
No, that's huge. Yep.
Will, with the amendment of the accountability partners, not Datu, I dove headfirst into competition. We teach each other how to feed each other. Yep. So Will used to. So our schedules got crazy. We used to get together at like 6 a.m. to train on Tuesdays. Then we used to do technical Tuesdays or something like that. And then I remember John goes, you should be dressed better. I go, dude, you're lucky it's 6:30 a.m. I'm wearing clothes at all. I'm just like, I mean, not that I would be training in a loincloth or anything. I'll leave that to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys. Nice tan, Ty. Oh, there's the Renee.
There you go.
Ty, we had to clarify.
Always ready.
We had to qualify annually.
Yep. No, that's true. Yep.
Adopt a Cop charity that pays BJJ for law enforcement. Yep. And then dialogue, not monologue. Yep. You know what? A lot of our brethren, they like the monologue thing. We've invited a lot of people on our show to have a dialogue with us. But they don't like that. Okay. Well, for me, everyone is open opinion. If you like mine, if you don't like mine, thank you. Okay. Cool. Good question. On grandmasters and black belters. Okay.
About have you produced any masters? They produced black belts, etc.
How's the shoulder? I was training 3 days after the surgery because my right arm is fine. It's the left arm that's all messed up. It's getting better. Still not supposed to put any resistance on the left arm. The operative word of that is suppose. It's hard. Actually, that sucks. Like, I'll go to bed tonight. It'll be terrible because I have to get a slim pillow to prop under my arm to get it just right. Otherwise, just hanging in bed at the wrong angle, I'm in pain.
Yep.
It's less and less, but still nonetheless,
that's how it was when I had my shoulder impingements were really bad. Nothing. Yeah.
Position. It was torn rotator cuff and torn bicep. But hey, you know what? I fought with it, and I did fight left-handed in the Philippines at the WeCAF Worlds, and I gold, baby. Here we go. Why don't you read this one here?
Sure. Let's see. What's Steve say? It's hard to follow someone when they're bashing other high ranks. Yes, that would be what I see from the Northwest, and I think, and DAV. It's very frustrating when you want to learn from all the GMs, but politics get in the way. Just my point of view. No, I think that, yeah, that's been my rant lots of times.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about that one right there. I'm going to give a shout out here. This is the Kelly Warden. Listen closely. Kelly and I have not always gotten along. We've argued very voraciously. 9 times out of 10, it was probably because somebody in his neighborhood was whispering in his ear, or other people. Matter of fact, I would talk to him sometime like, man, you said this the other day. Like, everyone called me up on it, because I don't think people realize that we are not bitter enemies. Right. But even when we were at our worst, we have people in common that would train with both of us.
I was going to say, neither of you told each other, don't train with that guy, or got in each other's business, messed up each other's business. I don't think you did any of that, which is that's if, not everybody's going to get along. So if you're going to get along and it does go to a little public, as long as it doesn't affect anybody else, that's the way to handle it.
And we were somewhere, we as in you and I, along with others. And of course, someone who didn't get along with me, you had a great conversation. And the last thing out of their mouth was, well, it's good that we can get along, even though I don't get along with everybody. I'm like, did you really have to ruin the conversation? We've been in a bunch of play. I remember going to a defense lab thing, and someone said, well, I'm a student of Brian. Oh, I know Brian. We were classmates.
Yeah.
Didn't say a word until somebody, not necessarily that time, but I won't say a word until someone brings it up and finally said, no, we don't get along on this. We don't see eye to eye on this. So he's so-and-so's the successor. No. One, there was a will that was never executed that we were all supposed to be part of a board. 2, I was the highest ranked black belt. So in the States. So, whatever. And it's just like, I don't even go down that path unless someone forces my hand with that. And depending on how they respond will depend on how deep I go. When we talk about who the rightful heirs are, I will sit there and say real emphatically, Remy had a will. That should say a lot right there. But the will was never executed, which says another thing. So, but let's grow. The art, politics, F that up. Yes, they do.
Yep.
Okay, so enough of that, unless you can think of any last thing to say.
Actually, I had one last thing to say about the accountability partners. You were talking about, you mentioned a point about when you put the stick in your hand, doing a drill, you didn't prefer the stick, and it's been so long since you made yourself do that. I would say that the tools we use and the drills are part of the tools, but weapons, tools, whatever that happens to be that you're trying to work on is also part of that accountability chain. Because if you listen to the feedback of that, it will keep you on point as opposed to going through the motions. But you still need a person to keep it real.
Yes. There's something completely different when you can do air techniques and visualize. You can visualization is an important part of what we do.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't give you the vibe, the feel when something penetrates your sphere of defense. When I have my safe zone and there's actual stick coming at my head, whole nother story.
Yep.
But boom, Here we go. Being in the FMA community, what's your opinion on Inosanto incorporating FMA into Bruce Lee's Jiu-Jitsu? Well, good for him. And it's going to sound out.
I was going to jump in and say, look, JKD's absorbed what is useful. FMA is useful to him. He's absorbed it for the pieces that he's taken. Awesome.
Let's reverse it. What do I feel about jiu-jitsu being put into Modern Arnis by Remy Pracis? Good for him. So Remy did locks and control. If you look, you will see that he had a background, but there's a good chance that would have been judo or jiu-jitsu prior to meeting Wally J. And then after meeting Wally J.
Another version of this logo has Filipino jiu-jitsu on it as well.
Yeah.
But for that reason. Yep.
So it would be hypocritical of me to bust Inosanto's chops for putting FMA into Jeet Kune Do, because Remy so our logo has our logo has a not even a European sword, more of a fantasy medieval blade, more like a Conan blade. Okay. And I'm going to pull up the logo while we're talking here. And it's supposed to represent the non-Filipino influences of the art.
And there are
plenty of them.
Yep.
And some of it was on a structural or some of it was more of a. So, what's the best way to say this?
If he saw something he liked, it somehow made its way into his art.
Okay, here's our logo. So this is the organization. So it's the shirt that Ty's wearing, but I got rid of the outer circle and the words. And instead of having the arms, which by the way represent, there's sticks and blades in those hands, and they represent angular and linear attacks. It also represents the Sinwalis, the weaving. That's part of what the logo is. And then you'd have the colors of the Filipino flag, which are part of what's going on there. So this, to me, this represents the three brothers, Remy, or I'm sorry, got the cursor in the wrong spot. Remy, Ernesto, and Roberto. Okay. The non-Filipino influences. Karate is a big part of that. Not necessarily about the material, but the whole structure of uniforms, belts, and stuff of that nature. Formalizing things. So
Bill's taking off. Hanggang susunod na linggo.
Okay.
Week, sir.
Cool. Yep. It's all the same. Eric Alexander first taught me trapping hands. Took me years to realize it was Decadino. And then Titles Ranks Championship. Do not make up teaching skills and saying worst. Yep. There we go.
Awesome.
Okay. So
that's the last touchback I wanted to do because we still have another subject.
And this is going to be a much shorter subject. So hopefully. So we've been talking about it off and on. Actually, I got to pull up the calendar while I'm here. We are doing a camp in the Philippines. And we've done these excursions, but we're actually going to do one of our camps there. It's probably going to be smaller. We're limiting it to 20 people. So we will be arriving in Manila around the 21st. So that's a Friday. That's the day we want to be there. Allows for a couple days to get comfortable. And actually the first weekend, there's going to be events put together for us on the Sunday, the 23rd. We're going to be meeting with vendors and stuff of that nature. And basically we'll go to so from the 21st to the 28th of February is us now doing stuff together. I usually end up leaving on the 19th and arriving sometime on the 20th.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So the 21st is the first day of us doing stuff. We would be doing a day trip. We'll try to do one excursion a day. Now that might be going to a vendor a couple hours out of town. Like the goal would be to go to Arnis Village too. That's Riddell de Guck's place. So that's that's the property. He used to have one where it was sponsored. That was a brutal. that was fun. Brutal. Almost died. Figuratively, maybe even literally. I started blacking out. He had an obstacle course, like a Tough Mudder thing, like a coconut on a spring on this. But those punching bags where you hit and go back and forth on that are floor mounted. Well, he had a coconut on that. So I go through the thing. Everyone does the whole thing. The guys are taking turns. I decided to do the whole course in one setting. I'm talking to this one American that's always there when we see him. I'm almost blacking out. Like I'm seeing the darkness. I'm not seeing the light. I'm seeing the darkness. And they go, and finally, I'm afterwards. I go, I got to stop. My kidneys are killing me. I'm here feeling the pain. How long does it usually take you to do it? Oh, 3 hours. Well, I'm trying to do it in 10 minutes. So probably should have asked that question long before anyone else. I should have done it with the guys. We each get our turn. It's all good. That it just didn't work out financially for that spot. It shut down. It was there for a while, and then I think they tore it up. And now he's built a property. Or he's built on his property. It's a combination of where he does his sticks and he does some training there too. So that's in Batangas. We'd probably swing up there, go to the Hiron Belly Song shop, make that a day trip, come back, might even stay the night. We would then go to Cebu for those who want to join us at the end of that, the 28th, the last day. Do something down there. We might even go to Negros to visit Remy's grave, as well as the memorial, the statue they put up, visiting with the family that's still there. Roberto is still there. Remy and Ernesto are buried together. We'd see if John was around, see if Roberto's seeing anyone. But that would fly down to Negros, go into Batangas, Bacolod, and then go from there. And I've got people down there that arrange transportation, hotels for us and stuff like that. So this time period, if you're there the whole time, we're there to the 4th of March. But what we're doing is the main camp is just that 1 week, the 21st to the 28th. Now, logistically, here's what happens. It does not include Carlito Lanata. Yep. Yes, I met him on multiple occasions, and senior. And I'm actually in Lanata Cuntao, and I'm actually ranked. I'm actually ranked directly through his organization. My instructor was Mark DeLeon out of Toronto, and I've had the good fortune of meeting. As we refer to him as Papa. So we all call each other Cute and Cudai, like brother and sister, different dialect. And like my instructor, Mark DeLeon, I'd come walking in, Cute Tim, Cute Mark, how you doing? And then when we talk about Great Grandmaster, we refer to him as Papa, because we're all brothers and sister. He's our dad. Mm-hmm. And that was before Unio took over, which frequents the show quite a bit, actually.
That's right.
Johnny, have you met him? Just out of curiosity. Just out of, but yeah. So I'm checking something here while I'm doing that. If he responds, you can. I'm on another screen, not being able to see. So.
No, I don't see anybody putting a new message down. But
okay.
Yeah, so you're going, I'm going, PG Craig's going, right?
Yeah.
So that's at least us three. I may have a few students going. That's what they say anyway.
So yeah, okay. All right, there we go. I got something. Okay. So basically what happens is here we go, Rich. I will try to set up work to go. Okay. That'd be cool too. So basically it is $1,500 for the trip, or for the adventure. Airfare and meals are not included in that. So I'm actually going to be doing we've always done this cash before, but if people want to pay for it by a credit card, if that helps things out, I will have a checkout page set up. It'll be $1,550 to pay for the credit card fees, because I do need the money there for, it's budgeted what it's going to do. It'll take care of all the training. It'll take care of the lodging. It'll take care of all the ground transportation. All that's covered. If we're going shooting, because we're talking about doing some shooting while we're there, that would be an extra expense. If we're talking about going to, the Antipolo, doing the suspended rope
on
the trees.
Yeah.
Some of this,
the extra excursions.
Yeah, the extras, but this will cover, like I said, all the ground transportation. Even if we're going for these extras, it'll cover the ground transportation. It'll cover the lodging at the hotels. It'll cover all the training that we'll do. And then, like I said, you just need to, the extras like food. If we go island hopping, the airfare. Now, listen, if we go island hopping, it's probably going to be $100, $150 total. It's pretty inexpensive. And I was able to switch flights the last time I was there. And I got credit for the flight too, which was great, even better. They gave me a partial credit. So we stay in Manila, and we'll have the instructors come to us. We actually have a training area that we can use at our hotel. We are blocks away from the Robinsons Mall, as well as the U.S. Embassy. Now, if people have government jobs that they have clearance on, we can go over and tell you, you can. We shouldn't have a problem being in Manila.
Right.
We went to Dumaguete the one time, not a problem. Trip afterwards, Dumaguete was a no-fly zone. We'd go to Cebu City in Cebu. So like New York State, and then there's New York City. It's the same kind of thing. The goal, last time I was there, I was talking to Gerald Cañete and said he'd love to set some things up for. Actually, this last trip, I got a hookup. We're going to do some Yao Yan, the Filipino version of Thai boxing. I got a whole bunch of people in Cebu set up. Dude, the stuff we've got access to on this trip is going to be we've never had this access before. And a lot of it goes to the fact that I did all that social media stuff, and it's opened up doors. And not only did I go to the Worlds, I fought in the Worlds. So win, lose, or draw, I got respect for being up there and stuff. And but so that's going to be there. Steve, are you thinking about going with this? I'm going to pull.
I think you said that last time. I don't have the post in front of me, but
okay, yeah. So it's all the same. Eric could have been the last show. I don't know, but yeah, but that's what we're working on. For those who want to go, just contact either one. Well, I'm the event director, so I'll be taking care of all the logistics. I'll be setting up a checkout page for people who want to do that. Just say, hey, here it is. And yeah, that's about it.
So I think the bottom line, I want to stress this, if you don't mind, is that look, the 15 plus the 50 if you're using a credit card, 1,500 gets you ground transportation, training, lodging, right? All three of those things are covered. Then you just got to eat, and if we're Highland hopping, there's that, or excursions,
Yeah.
That's the yep.
And here's what's going to happen. If hold on here. Don't go on here. Too many things going on my computer. Actually, I went the wrong way. Oh yeah. If you want to supplement your trip, so if you're a training group leader, stuff like that, the vendors that we're going to be hanging around with, so we can get the basic stick bags. I can get you a good deal, and you'll have an opportunity to resell them when you get home if you've got enough people. But I'll tell people, do not buy stuff on your own. Let me handle it. I won't handle the money. What's going to happen is this. If we're somewhere, there's places when you can negotiate, and there's other places you can't. So I told everybody what the deal is. This is my second trip to the Philippines. Do not buy anything on your own. We'll do it together as a group, because I can do something. And even with Remy, I used to do this, when he had a case of books. Tim, you take the case, you sell the books, and you keep $8. There was a $25 book. I'm like, I don't like that. What if I buy them all? Oh, it's half off. Boom, done.
Right.
Walk in another time. He's got all these bahi. How much for the sticks? Whatever it was per stick. What if I buy them all? This, done. Wrote him a check, done. Boom. Because you know what? He didn't want to have to carry it around. He didn't want to sell them one piece at a time. I could do it. I had a shop. And then eventually, actually, that was what Remy was going to do for me. He was going to introduce me to all this stuff, all of his suppliers in the Philippines, and then I was going to sell it and then cut him in on a percentage of it. Because I'm like, and that would have been fine because he opened the door for me. So, so there are opportunities to make some of the trip back, and actually, when I go over, I can pretty much pay for my whole trip for the stuff I buy over there. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, "Well, how come? Why do you charge this much money for it?" Because I paid $1,000 or now $1,300 to fly over.
Right.
Even now I got people shipping stuff to me. My last shipment was like $450.
That's a shipping price, right?
Yeah, and that was just a box of stuff that I would have got from Century. The size of the box I get from Century would have been $40.
Right.
So, that's why I usually order big. So there are opportunities to make some money off it there to help defer the cost of your trip.
So where can they find that? You said there's going to be a registration page.
All they got to do is reach out to me directly.
All right.
DatuTim@gmail.com, or do not message me through Datu Hartman's Facebook page. I get with all the advertising my social media company's doing, I get inundated of people going MAU for the Modern Arnis University. Unless you want the Modern Arnis University, then comment MAU on one of those posts, and you will get a link to sign up. And if you don't, message me directly. But look under Tim Hartman. It'll say Datu Tim under. So do not look at it, or just do datutim@gmail.com or Google my school or something like that. I mean, but or if you Instagram me directly, that'll work. But here, I'll tell you what right now.
And I would warn people too, if he's saying contact him, please do contact him. It's not a hassle. If you're really interested and you want to get information about it and he says contact him, he's wide open to that in these means that he's sharing right now, the email, etc. Very good about personal contact.
Here we go. Boom.
Let's
cell number.
Oh, there you go.
And that's also my WhatsApp. So if you're on what, you can Facebook message me, you can WhatsApp me. Now, here's what I'll say. A lot of time these apps will censor people. You'll put it in a junk file or hey, you've got a friend request. You got, like the friend request thing.
Right.
I don't look at my friend requests. I just usually post on Facebook. So sometimes I'll get a notification on Messenger that something came in, but yeah. So, but I mean, we will see Riddell de Guck. We will probably see Arnold Narzo. We've got the Yao Yan people. Looking forward to having brand new people from the Doce Paras world. Actually, I've got a bunch of people from Doce Paras, even in Manila. We might go to Secret headquarters in Baras Rizal, which is a foot fighting art. So it's a Filipino Taekwondo, basically. We might be visiting our friend, Grandmaster Unyo Lanada, if we have time. Or he might be swinging by us. I got to see about that. The problem we run into is some of these places, I would go maybe sometime to plan a later trip time. Yep. So something could be 30 miles away, and it could take you 2 hours to get there.
Yes.
Traffic's crazy. And the other thing is, so we'll take this thing called Grab. So first thing I would do is you would fly into Manila. You'd go to the money changer outside the airport. You get about $100 there. Maybe just $50, $50 there, $50 there. Because there's probably a better place. They're really good, but there's probably better places. And you know what? You don't want to flash around a lot of money. Although there are cops there, I still like, here's 50 in my pocket, give the person done. You want to have the crisp dollars as possible. The newest money. You don't want the old style, because if they don't like the condition of the money, they will not accept it. And then you get a grab. Definitely interested. Good. Like to hear that. You'll take a grab, which you could do the app on your phone, or you can go to the grab stand. That's their Uber. And the nice thing about their grab is that you could pay cash, or you could use the app and do credit card. Problem is, what I would do is, if you can do that, I would do the credit card ahead of time. And they put that $1 flash, that charge on there, and then of course that's when your credit card companies go, what's going on with this? So then I would call up your credit card company and say, hey, listen, I'm going to the Philippines. I would actually call the fraud department ahead of time. Hey, my name is, this is who I am. Then they'll probably ask you a couple questions to prove who you are. I go, okay, I'm going to put this on there. It's only going to do $1. And I know that's a flag for you guys. Can we just, I just want to make sure that this doesn't get locked up and all this other stuff, or you just do cash, the Philippines are a cash country. But you get to the hotel, then you don't have to worry about any more expenses other than food. The rest, then they will actually keep a tab if you buy food there. They do a nice breakfast, or a decent breakfast. I like the Philippine breakfast, which is rice and eggs and a sausage. And we'll go from there. But the grab will get you to the pension hotel. That's where we'll be staying. And it's a gated community. They've cleaned the area up quite a bit. It's nice. And then we hang out as a team. You are welcome to go out on your own. But when you go out on your own, you're on your own. And this is a hotel. We are not allowed guests at the hotel. If you came with that person, your fiance, your wife, or whatever, that's one thing. But they do not allow guests to come for one night. And actually, in resorts that I've been at, like when I go to Barbados, the same thing. The resort has the same policy. You can have a guest visit you, but there's no overnight stays for whatever that might be. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Which is another reason why I like, and I've chosen this hotel. Because if you want an adult adventure, this is not the hotel for that. And there's plenty of hotels around that you could go get a reasonable night if that's what you wanted to do. We just don't want that at our hotel. These people are really good to us. The Peace Corps stays there. Actually, I met this woman who's she was there almost every morning. No, you can do that. You can do that all you want. I'm just saying you have to do that off site. So I was talking to this woman there, and she had some interesting fan to cool her system down, or herself. And I was like, hey, that's really cool. Where'd you get that? Is that Amazon? Oh yeah. And we started talking. And within the first 5, she goes to me later and like, wow, you must be a really nice guy. Well, what do you mean? I like within the first 5 minutes, you talked about your wife. I'm like, yeah. And well, there are a lot of guys around here. I go, well, actually, that's why I like this hotel, because it's an adult. Actually, we started talking about the pension. I really like this place because they don't allow this stuff and And then, okay, here we go. So how is Ty staying there? He's not a real nice man. Is that what you're trying to say? I really like the place. Nice people. Nice. And I like the courtyard you can sit out and hang out with, and the breeze. I mean, could you find better hotel rooms? Of course you could. Mm-hmm. But I've intentionally stayed at some other hotel rooms on purpose to try it on this last trip. I feel very everything. I went to this one hotel by the mall, and I felt very claustrophobic. Everything was very tight. The rooms were tight. The hallways were like crazy tight. Like you walked up, you just see a whole bunch of doors. I'm like, is this some like crazy psycho movie or something? So you guys in the okay, you'll see Ty there, not me. I have my tournament this weekend, Noah. Okay, so but if you I like I said, I liked it, you know, she was like, oh yeah, you know, you within 5 minutes you told me you were married. I go, yeah. Well, you know, a lot of guys here go, hey, listen, I got a lot of female friends over there, and a bunch of them sell me stick bags. So where I get my stick bags, what's the woman's name? Remy. And then her niece, I Facebook them all the time. You know, I've got a whole bunch of other people like we'll hang out. I mean, we used to love Irene, who used to work there all the time. We've taken to her a cage fighting, which was friggin' awesome watching her. Took her out for dinner a couple of times, going to the Seafood Cat with a bunch of us. You know, they are our friends, and I have no problem. I've always had, you know, like, you know, and the thing is, I've had like one of Remy's daughters would visit me, somebody else's daughter visit me, all these other people that visited me, but we're always in the lobby hanging out or the courtyard. You know, no one goes in the only time I've have anyone in my room that wasn't a guest was when we were having blades. And I actually had Irene come in the room with me as a translator. Need a little help. You know, and all of a sudden she's like, holy cow, you got a lot of blades here. and I don't want to scare the guests, and it's money transferring hands. So I want to make sure that, you know, that's done privately. These guys have actually gone and got money for us. They've had the money changers come to us at times based on the quantity. So although if we're all going to the mall together, and we'd go to the mall to get our money, we all watch each other's back. So it's not that kind of place. I mean, are there's places there? Sure. Around the world, there's all those places. I got places in my region that I wouldn't want to hang out in, you know. So, but it's a blast. And I got to tell you this, honestly, it is a life-changing experience. You know, I mean, but every day is a life-changing. But I mean, this is just, it changed the way I look at world. You know, I realize how good I have it. And anytime I'm having a bad time, I remember the trip. I'm like, I've got nothing to complain about. But anything you got you want to comment about the trip at all, or?
No, we covered what's covered. We covered where people can find more information and register. Those are the two main things I wanted to do. And something like that is a great adventure, and whoever is part of that will be closer and have those memories to share. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think everyone would enjoy it, but then again, I'm a little, you know, I'm prejudiced about it, so you know, but it's okay. All right, what do we want to do for a show next week? Any thoughts? Oh, the review of our tournament and our seminar.
Oh yeah,
because we talked about that at the beginning of the show. We got to keep reviewing these things.
Right. Oh, and did we cover the events we're coming up besides just this weekend ones?
Okay, so I'll break it down for you. I know off the top of my head, the first weekend of November. The second, I have the Buffalo Niagara Martial Art Festival and our special guest instructor, Smiling Sam Alvey, the heavyweight champion from the Karate Combat League. Do you have anything that weekend?
The first, no, not tracking anything.
Okay. So the second weekend, the 9th and the 10th, Ty and I will be both over in Salem, Massachusetts with Craig Mason, Sifu Alex, Micah May Williams, Dean Franco, and the list goes on.
Right.
For the FMA Collaborative and the Massachusetts Modern Arnis Camp. Right in Salem, Massachusetts. The Modern Arnis Camp is back for Massachusetts. Woo-hoo. That's right. Third weekend, FMA or the Modern Arnis Immersion Seminar in Buffalo. That's the 17th. You got anything that weekend?
No.
Okay. And then the last weekend of the month, which is our Thanksgiving. That weekend, the 30th and December 1st, I will be up in Cambridge, Ontario, and I'll be teaching our Southern Ontario Modern Arnis Camp.
Sure.
They don't have a holiday that weekend, unlike this weekend where it's their Thanksgiving and our Columbus. Our Thanksgiving, it's their shopping day because it's Black Friday and they come over the border. It's their U.S. invasion day. Do you have anything other than that? I mean, of course, then the 9th, I think it's the 9th, we're going to be doing our thing up in Buffalo for
the 7th of December.
7th. Yeah. 7th, 9th, whatever it is. Yeah, that's
one of those things. Yeah.
8th, I don't know. Now I'm going to have to actually look at a calendar because
this is 7th, Saturday, right?
Saturday the 7th. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So, okay. So that'll be that right there. So, yeah. But that's what we got going on. I'll be attending the seminar. Okay, cool. Jazz, okay, Philippines here in Cebu City. Thank you so much for sharing this program. Hey, by any chance, do you do Filipino martial arts? Because we are going to go to Cebu City. If everything goes right in February, and if you know a club we can go visit while we're there, it would be great.
We're going to see GM Nick
on the holiday weekend. Yep. I don't know. I would love to. Okay, so if we have Balintawak people with us, I will definitely set that up. That being said, and we got to hang out with Nick Elazar and Drago Maranga, in addition to Bobby Tabuada, because he happened to be there at the same time.
Right.
Had our own little Balintawak immersion week.
That's right.
It was awesome.
On the rooftops.
On the rooftop. It was awesome.
Yep.
That being said, I would love to see the Dos Pares people because we've never had an opportunity of that. I've tapped into a community we haven't seen yet. So if we can work them in as well, that would be great. The only thing I'm going to say is that depending on how many people are there, for every instructor we see, that taps into the budget. And we want to make sure that we don't run out of money to pay for everything. Sure. Or we all agree, no. We're all going to kick in $20-$30 for this and blah, 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 which a lot of times $20-$30 would 10 to $30 would cover everything extra, but we can address. And once again, we got to see what's going on at the moment. Or if we see so-and-so, we have to cut somebody else out of the schedule. So, we're going to be doing something in Manila. I've already got that worked out. I got two somethings happen the very first weekend.
All right.
Something special should be happening while we're there. But that being said, we can only add so many things.
Sure.
So, my goal is I would love to see Grandmaster Nick while we're there. If that works, definitely make it happen. But I just don't know. And the other thing is he's been traveling now. I don't even know if he's going to be in the
right. It's true.
Because I bumped into him several times. I mean, and then and Arnold Narzo, we don't even know about him. And the reason why I'll say that,
he's been traveling too.
He's back in the Philippines as far as I can tell, but he's been gone for months at a time.
Well, I mean, the first 2 times I went, I got to see him both times, so that was cool. And if we get to see different people, then that's cool too, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, my goal is for us to see new people. So, and see the old people as much as we can.
There you go.
But it's got
they're still friends. I mean, so yeah.
Yes, but and the thing here is this, and I'm very okay. So, and I'll give a shout out. Why am I not a personal or a permanent part of the FMA camp, the FMA festival over there? We go over there a bunch of times. How come you don't see us there all the time? Simple. I didn't fly halfway around the world to stay at a resort.
Right.
I want to travel. Now, like when we go to Barbados, the island is not that large. We can do a day trip from one. I mean, I think the island is 40 some odd miles long.
Wow.
It's not a big island. we can easily do the circumference every day of the week. So we go and do our thing. We come back. We went scuba. We've gone, I don't know, not scuba. We did snorkeling, kayaking, went on a pirate cruise, went spelunking, low end spelunking. Look for monkeys, because evidently monkeys are hanging out. Drove by Tom Selleck's house, did a few other things here and there. And every time we go there, we do something different. But I mean, the thing is, we stay at the resort because you can go everywhere that day and come back and have the same place. So there's no reason to move to another hotel, to another, but the Philippines, I think the most I've ever spent, and we only did overnight, didn't we? Got there first thing in the morning, maybe 2 nights at the when we were down in Dumaguete.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because we brought Bobby, dropped Bobby off. We went up to Negron to hang out with Roberto, only for him to follow us back. But it was good to spend time with him alone, away from everyone else. And then we came back, and then we were there for a couple of days, and we left. But I mean, and it was funny because I've had people, other Europeans and stuff, they go, man, I was bummed. Why? I saw your trip. I wish I was going with you, because we got to see islands and people that weren't, I mean, I want to meet new people all the time. And, and when possible, I will visit for the afternoon or a day or maybe 2 days, go to the festival so I can, say hello to Manang Renee and Bambit and Mildred coming over from Japan, and fill in the blank, the people I don't get to see often. I mean, it's great to see them.
Yep.
But I also want to do new things.
Well, what are some of the other excursions that people want to know? We swam with the whale sharks.
So we went to we went when we were in Cebu.
The first time.
That was a little disappointing. That was the second trip. First time we just quickly went through there. I was a little disappointed because of how many hours we waited and drove and all this other stuff for a 20-minute swim, if it was that.
Right.
But we've gone to Taal Volcano in Tagaytay. We've been to the spot where Magellan lost to Lapu-Lapu.
Yep.
We've
the one with all the crabs all over the beach.
Yep. And then we got to see that plantation in Bacolod.
The castle-ish thing.
Castle, yep. And I gotta post more stuff. Actually, I found some stuff today. I was cleaning out the school as usual, looking for stuff. And I've got my certificates from the Babakan tournament that I was invited to, and I competed. I found one of my medals. I fought single stick, stick and dagger, and knife, I think. And I medaled in everything, but I could only find one of my silver medals. I actually won the stick and dagger division. And single stick, I think I got second. I think knife may have been third. I'm not sure. But it was nice, a Babakan tournament, which is kind of that was a hardcore group back in the day. I mean, not only was I invited with a nice seal and everything on the thing, I actually I'll be pushing that up, what I found later in the week, but it was just cool, just
these kind of opportunities that is different than just the training, which is cool.
Yeah. So, but all right. Well, listen, we'll do the review next week of our events.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it is getting to that point where we're going to be taking the seasonal finish. So today was episode 19.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Even with all that time off.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think our goal is to hit maybe 25 episodes a year, if possible.
Yeah. What were the old shows used to be on TV? It was like 22 episodes a season.
Yeah. 22, 24, something like that, So, we'll take time to figure out what we need to do. I'm enjoying this still, when we can fit it in. I don't know what's going to happen in the new year. because this has been a really rough year because of all the recovery from the car accident. And you've had how many hip replacements?
Sorry, what?
How many hip replacements have you had?
2. Yeah, both hips are replaced.
Yeah, and then all the PT that went with it and all that other stuff. So Janice and I've been dealing with a lot with that, and it's but no, the new year I'm expecting it might go a little crazy for me. Hit the ground running once I get because I'm not gonna force anything the rest of the year event wise, but Wednesday comes, if I get that green light, or if they tell me you'll be able to fly by January 1, I reach out to everybody and go, okay, here are the dates. Now that we put these things off or canceled, what are we doing now? So I'm expecting a huge seminar explosion. And got to make up for lost time. Need to get the gene pool bigger for when we stop teaching. It's all about that next gen taking over. So, all right. Well, I don't think there's anything else to say.
Nope, we covered good. Thankfully, definitely appreciate everyone signing on and the interest in the Philippines camp. That's going to be another milestone.
Hey, let me throw something out at everybody real quick. I want to talk about. I'm not talking. I'm gonna pull this up and tell everybody. And I don't know if we didn't know about this before. Let me see here. Maybe okay, right here. Okay. So I had no clue until I'm now looking at these videos differently. So we get these these numbers on from Facebook and YouTube and all this other stuff. And, if you look at YouTube, our numbers are kind of weak. You might get like 100, 200 views. So I'm looking at the video that 37 weeks ago, testing triumphs, navigating through protocols and achieving rank. 200 views, right? Then we go to 31 weeks ago, the Philippine Adventurer, honoring a Grandmaster and promoting something else. I can't see the whole title without clicking on it. That had 1,000 views on Facebook plays views. So, unraveling the mystery of the future, the future of FMA Talk, 2,900 views. 4 weeks ago, Yumi and Dean, 3,300 plays. Why we chose Modern Arnis 3 weeks ago, 6,700 plays.
Nice.
Stick versus Blade 2 weeks ago, 4,300 plays. Okay, I can see it right now. It's playing right now. Accountability, 1,200 plays.
Okay. Wow.
It has grown so much. And it's
definitely appreciated.
Oh, look who's there.
GM Renee.
Manang Renee. Kumusta ka?
Magandang umaga.
Magandang umaga. So, like I said, this is the person we like visiting when we're over. I bet she was watching the whole time and just waiting to see what we say about him.
Could be.
Just a reminder, I'm watching. And
he's been on the show. People might not realize. Yep.
So now a new wrap up. I'm telling you what our last show is going to be, not when. To finish our 4th season. The last show is going to be a panel show. And, Manang Renee, if you want to be part of it, we'd love to have you. Want to talk about, I've been very, I have traveled more with Remy, I think, than anyone else has. At least here in the States. I don't know of anyone who spent more time. Mabuti, maganda umaga. Yep. I don't know who spent more time with him after he left the Philippines than myself, save family. And even then, it was such a gypsy. It's kind of hard to figure him staying any particular place any long time, So I truly got a different envision of scale than others. We talk about scale all the time. What's the size? And my concern is that we've hemorrhaged so many people. And I know there's a lot of people think, oh no, it's bigger and better than ever. I go, no, you were more involved than you've ever been. So you think that it's bigger and better than ever. But Remy would do at least 50 gigs a year, 10 of which would be camps. He would do 2 seminars the same weekend and probably have 150 to 180 people between the two events. The camps would have 70 to 100 people. And we are not hitting those numbers today. Do you think we're hitting those? I mean, no. Okay. But other people say, oh no, we're bigger and better than before. I go, no, we're talking more than before because we have technology that we didn't have. Obviously it's a much greater social media thing because there wasn't social media back then. Well, it was called paper magazines.
Right.
And smoke signals and telegraph, phone. That was even before dial-up internet. What the hell's dial-up? So I've been very down about pessimistic when it comes to talking about these things because I remember the numbers. And I will say, especially after COVID, the numbers of seminars, they've shrunk a lot. A lot of people left the martial arts due to COVID. 30% of all martial arts schools closed permanently. You just don't all of a sudden overnight make up that difference,
Right.
So, and then Filipino martial artists, they weren't those schools because they were teaching out of somebody else's school. So who knows how much we've lost. What I'd like to do is at the end of every season is we discuss what we've done, how far we've gone, and what we still need to do. And I would love to hear from people who'd be interested in being part of that. I'd love to have, if Manang Renee wants to be on there and talk about what's going on in the Philippines. It's a different, I tell you, it's a different vibe over there, man. They got kids coming out of the woodwork, but the question here is how many of them stay after they graduate school because that's a scholastic event. I think there's more kids in the Philippines than doing Filipino martial arts than possibly kids doing Filipino martial arts in the world. I could be off on that, but I'm pretty sure that the Philippines has the rest of the world beat as a collective, based on what I see over there. But when it comes to adults, I don't think they can compare, so I'd love to give feedback from the Philippines because maybe my perspective is wrong because I don't live there, Okay, Eric would like to be in it. That'd be we'll put you down as a potential candidate, my friend. So the two of us, I'd like to have, if Master Parsons would like to join us, I'd love to have you because you were there back in the day. So we'd have 3 voices from back in the day. But if you know of anybody else that would be interested to make some recommendations, I'm officially throwing this out there. And my goal would be the 9th of December. That would be after our community event. So we can do a quick review on that. Do this, and then we're done because the rest of December, with all the different holidays that are going on, I don't want to get involved with that. Recharge our batteries, and then maybe mid to late January startup, only to stop because we're going to the Philippines.
I was going to say.
Well, we need to, talk about that upcoming.
And I'm probably going to Texas somewhere in there in January for a big chunk of time.
Hopefully. So we'll figure when all that is. Maybe we'll start up in February. Well, I think we need to do a couple episodes here and there in the new year, in January, just to keep things going, and then go from there. I think collectively martial arts is fading in interest amongst people, in my opinion.
You know what people don't want to do? People don't want to push themselves or do the work. That's just me being a grumpy old man.
Okay, so I am in the business organizations. There's schools that are crushing it. There's, the problem is the smaller schools don't know how to do things, and that goes back to the martial business. And that goes about getting an education and how many people actually. And we talk about this. It goes back to our camp that we just did. Part of we reviewed. We talk about business. We talk about how to get things going, how to keep people on board. Simple things like having matching T-shirts. My day class, we're very informal. Almost every time, everyone's wearing one of our school's T-shirts. The two people that I got, one person from a Taekwondo school that doesn't, and myself at times. Depends on where I'm coming from that day. But most of the people that, and Mr. Hill, most of the people that roll in, they're wearing a school T-shirt. One of our school T-shirts. If we get any more people, I'm definitely going to be pushing that more often. Say, hey, listen, I'd like everyone to, I don't want to necessarily say gee up, but definitely during the day, it's, a lot of people coming from lunch break and stuff like that. I don't want to push that too much, but there's a lot of things that can do that. But there are schools that have, I know schools with 300 to 500 people in them. So I don't think it's that people don't want it. It's just harder for people like us in a very unique art that the masses don't go running to. We're mostly taught as a add-on or enrichment program. We have to compete with athletic. And there you go. Our competition is not each other. Our competition is soccer, football, marching band. Crazy how many people do marching band. See, even of all, I remember when Jeff Delaney did an article and people complained about the article. He wrote his own article. He made it more about himself. He wrote the article. If you didn't like it, you should write your own damn article. And people ask me, hey, what do you think, Tim? I go, what do I care? He wrote an article. It's in Black Belt magazine. Modern Arnis's name was there. What's wrong with that? Well, they did it about him. I go, okay. So someone in Buffalo sees the article, gets exposed, gets excited. Who are they going to train with, Jeff or me? Oh, where are you at? Okay. I get that all the time. Hey, where are you? I'm in Buffalo, New York. Oh, I'm not there. Can I, do you know anyone in my area? Oh, sure. Here's some referrals. Okay. I agree to that, but it's difficult to sell work. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely. You got to know what you're doing. You got to be convinced about the product. You can't have any, and it's rough when you're trying to do that as a standalone thing. It's good to have a day job when you're starting this up. So, but that's another topic. But at the end of the day, on the 9th or whatever that day I said, let's do the series finale and the season finale, and we will see whom we can get on this for our panel and just say, hey, what have we done? What's the good and the bad that's happened in the last year? What do we need to be doing? And are the things that we're doing, what we've been doing working, and what else should we be doing? Because ultimately, to me, it's about the future. And we go to our camps. I'm very pleased. I mean, on the Saturday, we had over 30 people at our instructor camp because we had the people who are also taking the immersion seminar that are working on their black belt testing for this May. And they got them the opportunity to work with the people who are going to be on the board. I think it was a great thing. The camp itself was almost sold out. I think we had 18 people officially attended from the 24. So, and I mean, we've done it with 10 people, and I was ecstatic with 10 people because it was really the people who were there really knocked it out of the park. Parents keep their kings and get scholarships for whatever sport. They just don't know how hard it is to get there. Okay, well, let's put it this way. Here's the other thing too is, so martial arts has a lot of skill development. Martial arts will not by itself will not get a scholarship, but my girl Shia, who's crushing it in soccer, she never played soccer before. Her first year, she's an all-star. Teams are recruiting her. Teams in Europe want her to come and play in Europe. And if she goes to Europe, she'll play for free. Where here, you got to pay out your nose. She's sponsored to be on one of the teams, or at least she was for one season. And how long have you been doing this? First year. No, really, first year. Well, how the hell are you doing this? Oh, Shia's a black belt in karate. Well, they say karate. Arnis. Oh, that makes sense. So, there you go. Accountability again. How can we do better? Yep. So the thing here is with the parents and stuff like that, we have to talk about how this will help them get things. Because, at the end of the day, it's not about just grades. Any kid can get straight A's if they want. Parents sit them down, make sure they don't have a social life. To get a scholarship in school, the schools want rock stars. They want kids that can have activities in addition to good grades. Like I said, it's easy to get good grades, but it's hard to have good grades with a social life and having other activity. That's why you belong to Key Club or Delta or DECA, or I don't know if they know they do that shit anymore. National Honor Society, being in the musicals and plays, being in the courses, the bands, doing sports. Oh, you're a black belt in martial arts? Dan McCartan he was the ROTC recruiter. There's 4 things that you'd get extra thing. Being a martial artist, being a Boy Scout, being an Eagle Scout, being a black belt. You had all, obviously. So if you were a black belt Eagle Scout, you can come out several pay grades higher from basic training from the ROTC program. Boom. So we know for a fact it can help you with stuff. It doesn't necessarily get it in that, but there's definitely things it can do. All right, last thing here. This has been a stellar year for your organization, in my opinion. Very exciting. Yeah. Now that we have thank you, Will. We've been crushing it in many ways, including the social media stuff that I've been doing. So, and there's a lot of things that are happening. So we'll talk more about that. So, we can keep going down the rabbit hole, or we can wrap things up. I'm opting for wrapping things up.
Yep, probably should. Should have probably.
All right. Well, listen. It's always a pleasure. I really enjoy this. And you know what? This is great. Please comment in the sections here for those who are doing this. Are you seeing the advertisements that we're putting out? Because I'm doing the stories and all this other stuff ahead of time to talk about what's going on. Is that helping you see what's going on and what we're doing? Get the word out there. Tell the show about people. Like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff you're supposed to do. Share where you feel appropriate. Hell, share if you feel it's inappropriate.
There you go.
But if you share it on the DAV page or the mods page, we had nothing to do with that. Although they're always welcome to come on our show. Mm-hmm. Anyone Modern Arnis, there's very few people out there that I will not allow on this show because of personal stuff as attacks. But if it helps what we're doing as a community, I'm willing to give people opportunities to be part of a dialogue, not a monologue. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for chiming in. Oh, uh-oh. I'll let you read this one. It's a big one.
All right, let me see. Eyes working. There we go. Yes, there are thousands of young people between ages 7 and 20 years old actively in Arnis in the Philippines and growing fast every day. Roughly a quarter of them stay in it after their 20th birthday. Our basic goal is to introduce the young ones to Philippine martial arts, regardless if they stay long years or not. Immersion is the approach, and we are gaining mileage. Awesome. In Sport Arnis, we have average of 4 locals and regional competitions every month and up to 3 nationals every month. It is mandatory now in military. Nice.
And my,
okay, excellent stuff.
Steve says, "LOL," not because of what was said, as opposed to we were just about to log off.
right. But it took him a while to type that in, so I can appreciate that because that was a while back.
Yeah, listen, I the numbers are crazy. They're now, but I don't know. At least in Manila, though, it's rough because when I see people, the groups are small, and it's so. I would really love to know where those people are going. So maybe we can do a show on that, Manang Renee, if you'd like to be on the show once again, because if FMA is going to get in the Olympics, which is my goal to see that, PCAF and WECAF are the way to get there. And we have to follow the example of the Philippines with their youth being involved. Because the youth become the adults.
Yep.
The youth become they will age into being Olympic competitors where we have aged out. If I'm in the Olympics for stick fighting, something's gone sideways.
Nice.
So, and on that note, as always, this is a pleasure to do this show with my friend here. TNT, that's where we are. The TNT show. With no further ado, this is Datu Tim.
And PG Time. Thanks, everyone.
See you all soon.